Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling. And man, I really appreciate you guys taking some time out of your day to spend with me. I really appreciate that. And guys, today I want to have a conversation that's long overdue that I don't know if I've ever even heard of anyone talking about it on YouTube before. But I'm going to talk about what happens and what you can do when you start getting burned out on bass fishing. And it happens to all of us. There's a lot of different reasons that we get burned out on it, and it can take the enjoyment away from fishing. And I want to sort of give you guys some tips and advice on how to overcome that and get back to enjoying fishing again in today's video. Also, guys, I really want to show you something real quick you might be interested in. Guys, this is the new Garcia Zata tact reel. They have a deal with Tackle Warehouse right now where part of the proceeds of this goes to benefit our veterans and our first responders. I've been using this reel now for about a month. Absolutely awesome reel, super stylish, super, fits great in your hand, 10 ball bearings. This is just a great reel if you want to, help support our veterans and first responders. Also, I'll put this in my Tackle Warehouse link. They have 20% off on it right now. So if you guys are interested in getting a reel that, goes to a good cause, plus it's just an awesome reel, link in the description there. So much appreciated with that. Okay, guys, like I said, this is going to happen. I mean, you are going to get burned out on bass fishing eventually if you do it long enough. And that's just sort of the process. And I want to talk about some things that causes burnout and really some things you can do about it. Now, one of the first things that causes burnout, as far as from been my experience and talking to a lot of other people out there, is going out there on a lot of different trips and just not catching very much. If you put a lot of energy and a lot of effort into your fishing and you're not getting the reward for it, you can get burned out on it, and it can become where it's not fun anymore. And everybody wants to catch them, but you're going to run through periods out there where nothing seems to click, and you just get burned out on going out there and just not catching much. So this is one thing I want to talk about. And then there's another deal with that is as you get older and as the byproduct of getting older into your 40s, 50s, and 60s, a lot of times you just don't want to put the effort into it like you did before. It's like it's not, once you've done it for decades and decades, about getting up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning and getting out there in the cold and the heat and the rain and the wind and having to jack around with everything with your tackle to do it, as you get older, you lose some of that motivation a little bit. And it's like you get burned out on it. It's like, back when I was tournament fishing heavily, 20 years ago, I'd get up at, 3:30 to 4:30 in the morning for 200 days a year. And that will burn you out. It'll also burn you out as a tournament fishing, traveling constantly, driving across the country, staying in strange hotels, all this. There's a big thing that encompasses things they're going to burn you out. So here's some things you can do about it. First of all, you've got to start working to start making fishing fun and enjoyable again. And here's a couple ways that you can do that. First of all, if you're not catching them, let's talk about the burnout that you suffer from just having, lots of trips and not catching fish. So there's two things you can do. One is the attitude adjustment that comes with that. You have to start appreciating things when you're fishing on the lake that don't have anything to do with catching fish. It's like you're not going to be able to do this forever, guys. Your day or your time in the sun as far as fishing is limited. There's going to be a point in which your life, either when you get older and you can't do it, or your responsibilities increase, or whatever it is in your life, some sickness or something, that you're not going to be able to fish anymore. So one of the things that you can do if you're having a tough time and you're really getting frustrated with not catching them is try to enjoy everything else that being out on the water has to offer with you. Enjoy just being out in nature, enjoy the smells and the sound of being out in nature. Try to absorb that, the water lapping up against the side of the boat, being able to discharge a little bit and just get away from, the grind of everyday reality, and just sort of relax into that therapeutic aspect of being out in nature. You can't discount that. It's like, I talk about this a lot, guys, and I really want to hammer this home. It's the fact that one of the biggest parts of fishing is you've got this hope all the time. Fishing is nothing but hope. It's hoping that things will work out, hoping that you'll catch fish. and the anticipation and the mystery and the magic that goes along with it. So it's not just getting that bite and setting the hook that should be your gauge of satisfaction. So try to absorb everything else around that will enhance the experience if you're not catching them. Okay, now some things to do if you're getting burned out on not catching them. This is one of the things that you sort of have your control on. If you're not catching them, especially if you got like one body of water that you're going to, try going back to the basics. Try going to a place where you know you can catch some fish. If you know a farmer that's got a big farm pond, maybe try to fish that farm pond. Just you know you're going to catch some fish in it, or go to a different location where the fishing is a little bit better, or change your techniques. Simply change your approach, the way that you go about fishing. There's some things that you can do to alter to help you catch more fish. And a lot of it is just, sometimes you just need a break away from it. That is that simple. A lot of times, if you go through these periods where you're struggling or you're in a slump or something like that, just take a break from it, man. Just get out there and just don't fish for 3 or 4 months. Just do something else. Work, start getting your house in shape, doing some good landscaping, or whatever you may enjoy, bowling or whatever it may be, watching movies, but just take a break from it, just get away from it. And a lot of times by that break and just getting away from it, you will regain sort of some of that love and some of that passion for it. I've had several guys do this, guys. I've got 2 or 3 friends that have told me over the course of, I've known them for 40 years, they go, I'm selling everything I got. I'm done with it. I'm done going out and spending all this money going to the lake and not catching anything. And they won't fish for 3 or 4 months, and all of a sudden they slowly getting back into it, and it helps them out there. And another thing that you can do if you're suffering from that, guys, get away from bass fishing and go fish for something else. I love crappie fishing, guys. I love catching crappie as much as I do bass a lot of times. So if you're not catching any bass, get out there and put on a chunk of liver and try to catch some channel catfish, or go white bass fishing, or go crappie fishing, or get some other species out there just to take a break away from bass fishing. And eventually, that love and that passion will come back to it if you have a little bit of a break there. Now, the other thing that burns people out, and you just get tired of it, is the fact that everything surrounding how much work it is to go fishing. Because fishing can be as simple as you want to make it, or as complicated as you want to make it, but there's so much logistics involved with fishing a lot of times. It's like planning it, packing it, getting up early, making the drive, getting your tackle ready, getting your tackle organized. There's a lot to going to the lake. And a lot of times, if you can just simplify that process as well, where it's just not quite so overwhelming, that has a lot to do with it. And one of the things that, back to the fact that you need to take a break from it, here's one of the things that I really like to do. If I get burned out and not excited about going fishing, that is when I take time and do a complete tackle reorganization. And now listen to me, guys, don't underestimate the importance of this. See like those boxes right there? All my tackle in here, all my plastic worm boxes, you can see those down there. Those are all soft plastics. If I get burned out on it, and this is something great you can do in the wintertime, go through every single box that you have, take out every single lure that's in the box, clean the boxes, reorganize, put everything in there according to lure categories, colors, sizes, whatever. Remark your boxes, get them nice and neat and nice and organized. Go through all your reels, take your reels apart, oil them up, take all your rods, spray Windex on them, get them all cleaned up, clean the handles up, get everything ready to go. Just have the experience of that therapeutic aspect of just handling and working on your tackle. And this is one of the things, I'll tell you how I learned about this, or how it first got started. There was one of the first TV show hosts in fishing ever was a guy named Harold Inslee. A lot of you guys may have heard of Harold Inslee back in the 70s. And Harold, the set that he had on the TV, and I remember being a little kid watching this, like 7 or 8 years old, Harold would have this background. He'd have this fire going in the background, and he'd have this real lodge-looking living room, and he'd have his tackle box set out on the coffee table. And he'd like hold up a lure and talk about that lure and have his box all organized, and he'd have his reel out there, cleaning it, just handling your fishing equipment. there's something to that it's healing, man. It's really healing, and it gets you sort of charged up and juiced up to go fishing, if you get burned out with it. So a lot of different things you can do. Like I said, if you have the passion and the desire and the love for fishing, it's never going to go away. The power of working that lure and feeling the strike and setting the hook and knowing that you got something alive on the other end, you either have that or you don't. You either have that passion and love for that, or it doesn't exist at all. So if you had it at one time, it's still there. You just sort of have to take a little break from it and sort of reevaluate and reassess your attitude towards it. So best thing you can do, guys, like I said, take a break, step back from it a little bit, put your energy somewhere else, and then come back to it, when you feel like you're ready to do that. So don't give it up, guys, because I tell you right now, bass fishing and fishing in general, it's probably one of the most therapeutic activities that you can either have on every level of your being, physically, emotionally, spiritually, intellectually, culturally, everything. It does so much. There's so much benefit to fishing that goes way beyond catching fish. And I always say this, you hear me talking about it because I'm so anti-tech, is that if your perception and your focus on fishing is nothing but getting bit and jacking fish and setting the hook, you're missing out on everything. You're missing out on absolutely every aspect of fishing that has more value than actually catching fish. So this is something all the great fishing philosophers have said throughout time. If you listen to all the really, really in-depth anglers, they'll all tell you the same thing with that. So anyway, guys, just a few thoughts. Hope you guys are well. We'll talk later.